Affinity Kickoff Classic between Meatball City and Iron. And like I was saying last broadcast, that I don't think anybody would have necessarily handicapped it that way. No offense to either of the teams, but with all of the major clubs, established major clubs, you would have thought one of them would have made it here. But we've seen some upsets and some good hard 16-inch softball action today. So for those of you new to the stream, we'll break it down for you. This is 16-inch softball, Chicago style. And you're seeing it correct, no gloves. So it is not a mush ball. It's pretty firm out of the box. 60-foot bases, you can lead off, but you can't steal. 38 feet from the pitching plate to the tip of home plate. 6'12" on the arc. We're playing no gloves, so the pitcher gets a drag step, one step right, left, or back. 2 fakes or hesitations. Third arm action must be to deliver the ball home. A throw or a fake to the base is considered one of your fakes or hesitations. 260 on the fences. Here's Mike Marola leading off. Short hop gets past Chapo. That'll be, or not Chapo. Yeah, Chapo. So that is a leadoff base hit for Mike Marola. And we use heavy bats, 38 ounces, 2 1/4-inch barrel, can be no longer than 34. So that pretty much runs down the rules. So Mike Marola stays hot, leads off with a hit, and brings up Pops Alejandro. So Iron retooled a little bit. They grabbed CJ, the pitcher, off a signature, along with Joe Welgos, and the shortstop, Chapo. And Lane Neiman Jr., a little bobble. And Meatball City, starting very similar to the way they did against High Y, they put their first 2 of the game on base. That's going to bring up Mike Wiz. So Meatball City went with the exact same lineup. It's funny, Joe Carves was going to go take the toss, and they got all over him. Teams are very superstitious, and they wanted Joel, the manager, to call the toss, to no avail this game. Of course, he lost the toss last game. So here's Mike Wiz off of CJ, and the bases are going to be loaded. So Meatball City has come out swinging the bats. I think they went down the rabbit hole last game when they started out hot. Had 8 runs in the first 3 innings and then went dry the rest of the game, but held on. Here's Joe Filipino. And this Iron team, there's a high fly ball that should score Marola. JT Ritas will throw it into second, and that'll put runners on the corner. 1-0 early lead for Meatball City. So sorry folks, somebody was waving at me there. So Meatball City, last 2 games have been playing with the lead. Here's Godinez, and he slashes a hit toward the gap. 1 run is in. Here comes Wiz. And Godinez lumbers into second with a stand-up double. 2-0, Meatball City. So Meatball City, following their trend, these last 2 games, they've played with the lead the entire way. And it brings up John Doss. I'm sorry, there's 1 out in the end. And Doss comes through with a hit. 1 run is in, and they're going to hold Godinez. 3 runs are in. So they started out 3-0 against High Y, and they're starting out right away now. And here's Sean Quinn, runners on the corner, 1 out. And there's a hard ground ball, fumbled a little bit by Joe Welgos. He goes home. Mark Kalaga did not seem like he was expecting to throw. Would have been close, but I believe the runner would have scored. 4-0. Meatball City. Runner on second now for Nick Wiz, 8th hitter of the inning. So Meatball City, fast starters, and there's a long fly ball, and that is going to be caught by Ritas in center field. But they put up a 4 spot, take the early lead.
Hey, me, someone out of 0. Go with the 0. Go with the 0 now. Come on now.
And you know, sometimes you can't predict it, but sometimes you win the toss and you feel good about it, and then the other guy punches you in the mouth right away, and all that feel good goes right out the window. So this iron, Danny Atkins' son Tyler, young player still in college, and Danny for the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season missing a few of his younger kids, and usually by the time the SSA Gold Rush Gaming Major National Championship tournament comes around, they're still not around because they're going to school, and it's my understanding this is the last year of that, and then those kids will be more available the entire year. And they got a good looking squad. They picked up some good veterans, and Iron has always been very competitive. So here's Chapo Bolinas leading off, the shortstop. That kid Danny, that Iron throughout its history is not a fancy team in the sense of how they play the game, but they're effective. And of course, Danny runs the North-South Challenge, also one of our summer series events. And he's the only guy running a major tournament who's not affiliated with an association. There's a little cut job, and that's going to fall in front of the left fielder. So Caballero couldn't get there. He might have hurt himself. He's kind of limping around out there a little bit. I don't know if he stubbed a toe or what he did there, but we'll keep an eye on it. And that's going to bring up Billy Quirk. So Iron down 4 puts their leadoff man on. And Quirk goes right at him, and Jake Caballero makes the play. Yeah, he's kind of limping. He did something to that right foot or right leg. So here's Mark Kalaga now, 1 out, 1 on. We're very early in this one, 4-0 Meatball. I'm only in the bottom of the first. Of course, Mark Kalaga never played on Mudville, but we were on the dog pound together. Brian Toomey ran that team. Ground ball, Pop steps on it, double play. So despite the leadoff hit, it ends up basically being a 1-2-3 inning. The end of one complete, 4-0 Meatball leading this championship game. So he looks like whatever the issue was, he looks like he's walking a little better. He's still kind of shaking his shoulders a little bit. We'll keep an eye on that. One thing you never want to see as a manager is an outfielder go down. last year, before Tito's picked up PJ Raines, got a little more depth in their outfield. Chuck Regaldo got hurt in a couple of tournaments and couldn't finish, and the quality of outfield play for the 45s really declined. So here's Jake Majerus leading off, Ian Holst, and then Jake Caballero, bottom third of the Meatball City lineup. Takes that pitch a little deep. Now CJ is a very good pitcher. He's very competitive. He's like an encyclopedia. And there's a flare, and JT Redis right off the top of the carpet. So Redis, tall, lanky kid, he can fly. He got there and showed you he's got some good hands. That was not an easy catch, as Jake Majerus hit it right off the end of the bat. And the reason why Meatball City is here is because of the walk-off bottom of the ninth. Crazy bounce home run by this guy, Ian Holst. And there he was just trying to beat it in the ground and run. And I tell you, when he hit that home run, he smoked the ball into left center. And CJ tried to sneak a fastball past him, and the young guy turned and burned and ripped it up the middle. So that brings up Caballero. So with one out, they put a runner on. Let's see if Meatball City follows their semifinal pattern and can score runs here in the second inning. They were fantastic the first three of the last ball game, and then they got shut down once Sharif Walker came in the ball game. And there's a little soft fly ball. Redis, who's had a busy first inning and 2/3, cruises over and makes the easy catch. So back to the top here with Mike Marola. Ian Holst can scoop. Mike can get what I like to call the stretch single. Holst might score from first, especially with 2 strikes and moving on the swing. And there's a little flare, long run for the left fielder, and it drops harmlessly foul. So Nick McLaughlin playing left field. Not your prototypical left fielder. He's a big kid. And Marola draws a 2-out walk, and he'll bring up Pops Alejandro. CJ, very uncharacteristically, he's walked a few people today. And Pops just tried to hit a little flare. Chapo will take care of it for the 3rd out. So Meatball City goes dry in the top of the second. Iron coming to bat. So you can see what they were trying to do there. Pops is a cut push guy anyway. And I think they wanted to see just how much speed that Nick McLaughlin had in left field, but Pops hit it a little too high there. And the young man made the play pretty easily. Well, if it was Julia Child, she might have been slurring those words. Of course, Julia, one of the best chefs in history, but she did like to put a lot of wine in her cooking. So here's Lane Neiman Jr., and he pounds the ball toward the gap. Lane Jr. will stop at first. Leadoff man on for Iron. And it brings up Joe Welgos, the signature transplant. That pitch a little deep. Joe was on my all-Geo team, and he pulls that ball foul. Joe got a big hit late when Iron beat Sauce to get here. So 1 on, nobody out here. Bottom of the second, championship game. This one is for all the marbles. And Joe hits it off of Marola, and Lane Jr. makes it. Pops might have had him, but he tagged him and dropped the ball on the tag. And Iron now got a little something brewing.
Hey, Joe, nobody. Hey, come on, B-boys, let's go.
Mike Marola normally a very, that's going to be out well out of play.
That room. That's how it's been.
So they're kidding Mike Marola. He said you got room. The ball was about 4 feet out of play over the fence. That's how you get an outfielder hurt. But Mike Marola, normally a very, very sure-handed and very solid defensive pitcher, but today it just seems like a lot of balls have been getting deflected. Again, it's early in the year. And here's Piotrowski, and it goes through Wiz.
Stay here. Stay here.
So the shortstop, Mike Wiz, got his hands up. Just couldn't make the catch, and now the bases are loaded with nobody out.
Let's go, Tuffy. Come on, boys.
And that's going to bring up Brian Kalaga.
Come on, Tuffy. Attaboy.
So Iron's set up here to maybe put a crooked number on the board. And he goes hard to center. Ian Holtz, what a catch. That ball carried on him, but a double tag. Welgos will score from second. But a spectacular catch by Ian Holtz. He got there, and the ball just got up in the wind a little bit, didn't want to come down. He leapt in the air and made a tumbling catch. And they're going to check on him. He's rubbing his right shoulder. So Joel Alejandro, the manager of this ball club, is going to check on his young outfielder. And he's saying when he caught it, he kind of contorted his body. Because he was in the air and contorting himself. He's telling Joel he's okay. It'll be interesting to see if Iron gets a chance if they try to run on him. So we got Ian Holtz. He's kind of moving that arm around. And then you got Caballero. In left field, who had a little bit of the foot issue. So that's going to bring up the left fielder, Nick McLaughlin. That sounds like a Wild West name. And there's a called strike 3. Two outs now. Iron has gotten back into the game, but the spectacular catch did put a little damper on what they're doing here. Brings up JT Redis. And there's a swing and a base hit the other way. Piotrowski turning for third, and he gets there. Of course, I played with Kyle's father on that dog pound team I mentioned earlier with Mark Kalaga.
How are you?
That brings up CJ now, top of the lineup. In the balance, and CJ cuts, and Iron picks up their third run of the inning. They close to 4-3. So a couple of big 2-out hits here. And they get to their leadoff man here with another runner at second base. And again, JT can really run any type of a single. Moving on the swing, he's going to score.
10 feet. You got 10.
And there's a little ground ball.
Get here. Say.
And they calls him out.
Come on, hit. Come on, hit. Let's go. Come on, boys. Let's go. Come on, hit.
But 3 outs. Brother to brother there for the tag play. Third baseman was not at the bag. That's a dangerous play. But they get the out at third, 4-3 now. As we head to the top of the third. So it's going to be Mike Wiz, Joe Filomeno, and Jose Godinez. So Meatball City, after scoring that 4 spot in the first, went dry in the second. And Iron is just grinding away. They've been doing it all day. And there's a base hit from Mike Wiz. Just sat back and drove it right up the box for a leadoff single. And Meatball City's got a few younger kids. The Wiz boys look a little older. And Jose's been around, but they do got a lot of younger kids in the lineup. Big thing I noticed between streams was they were just trying to tell their team, Filomeno base hit. They were just trying to tell their guys, hey, stay loose, keep having fun. And right now it's paying off for them. They lead 4-3 here in the third, and here comes Jose Godinez.
Mike, no outs.
So nobody out here, first and second. And Godinez skies one. That's trouble. And it's going to drop. Chapo's going to throw the ball into home. Bases loaded, nobody out. So Jose, a big, strong kid, took a big, aggressive hack, popped it straight up the elevator shaft. Ritas, having to respect that pop, couldn't get there, and it fell in. Good job by Chapo getting out there. Saved the run temporarily. And it brings up John Doss. And Doss flips one into right. Cork makes the catch. The run does score. And Meatball City adds to their lead. The runner's on the corner now, 1 out. So 5-3 brings up Sean Quinn. Runners on the corner. Right about now, CJ Sopin, the pitcher's best friend, the double play ball shows up. And there's a little flare the other way, caught by McClawhorn. Had a little trouble spitting it out. And Meatball City picks up run number 6. And that'll bring up Nick Wiz.
Come on, Wiz.
And there's a swing and another base hit. Jose thought about it. Would have been interesting.
Because you didn't listen to me. Because you didn't listen to me.
So Meatball City, a couple of runs this inning, threatening for some more.
He would have broke his ankle trying to slide.
And here comes Jake Majerus. So Meatball City been pretty impressive. He tries to go big. Jake McLawhorn makes the catch to end the inning. But in the inning, they put a couple up. They push out to 6-3. Meatball City playing crisp softball, to say the least. Hey Nick, you know what the score is over there? Okay, so my guy Nick Byrne was with Ballbusters, moved over to March this year. I think March is going to be, once they settle in, it's going to be pretty good. And he thinks signatures up 5 or 6 on BTA. And here's Billy Quirk. He slaps it to the gap, and he's going to hustle in with a stand-up double. So for you kids watching at home, that's how you play the game. When you hit those balls toward the gap, don't admire them, put your head down, and get yourself in the scoring position. So here's Mark Kalaga. Played with one of Mark's older brothers. And there's a little fly ball. And Ian Holst, of course, a left-handed hitter and a left-handed thrower. So I just realized that. So even though he dinged up that right shoulder, it sure is not affecting his throwing arm. So it brings up Lane Neiman Jr. And that's his dad coaching third. Of course, his father started the Rockers and had the pleasure of having Lane on my coaching staff with Mudville and then at Flashman. And Lane in the Hall of Fame as a manager, one of the brightest softball minds you'll ever meet. And there's a little flare, and Ian Holtz tries to dive, can't get there. This is going to be a stand-up triple. And Iron won't go away. They keep chipping at it, and they pick up a run here, make it a 6-4 ball game.
I got the third baseman. He's crafty over there. You got to watch him. Good ball, Lane.
Brings up Joe Welgos. So Lane Jr. drove that into right center for a stand-up triple. And again, it's the wind blowing out. It's always a tough day for the outfielders. And Joe right up the elevator shaft, and that'll be an out, and Pops just flips it in. 2 outs now, and it brings up Kyle Piotrowski. And again, with the runner on third and less than 2, you always want to pick that run up. It's up to Kyle now to pick up his teammate. Kyle hit a nice humpback into left field his last time. And there's a strike. So 2 strikes now on Kyle. 2 outs. Takes that pitch short. Now, in this situation with a full count, it doesn't affect the runner. He's not being pushed off of it by anybody. Mike making the young Piotrowski wait, and there's a rocket base hit. So Kyle Piotrowski, a big 2-out hit, pulls Iron to within 1 here in the bottom of the 3rd. So these teams are exchanging jabs so far early in the game. And there's a ground ball, and Mike Marola snags it. So Brian Kalaga grounds out to end the inning. But they pick up a pair. They close to 6-5 as we head to the top of the 4th.
Come on, boys.
So both teams exchange 2 spots in the 3rd. And it's a 1-run ball game. Well, Amalia, I assume he had a mother, and I assume that Mikey would be his boy. And he is pitching. Of course, his uncle, Pat Caputo, legendary guy. Before the High Y Meatball City game, they had Pat come out and throw out the first pitch. Both teams lined up on the foul line. Pat recovering from liver cancer. And there's a little flare by the leadoff man, Ian Holst, for out number 1. It's a very nice moment. Pat has been through a lot the last year and a half. And he's just in the process of getting his strength back now. Thought it was a... And here's Caballero, and he flares in there for a hit. So Jake Caballero, at the bottom of the lineup, gets himself on base, and here comes the top of the Meatball City lineup. They lead by 1 here in the 4th inning, not quite halfway through. Takes that pitch for a strike. Takes that pitch deep. And Mike swings, he stays red hot. And he delivers a base hit. Brings up Pops Alejandro. It's Meatball City trying to get a couple of runs back and get their lead back. 1 out here. 1st and 2nd. And Pops tried to sweep that into right field. Let that ball get a little too deep and too low on it. Would have been next to impossible to keep that ball fair. Especially with this wind blowing that way. You're good. Pops now hits a little flare, and that's going to drop. Bases are loaded. Meatball City has had the bases loaded a couple of times in this game. And it brings up another hot hitter, Mike Wiz.
Mikey, what?
Only 1 out here. So Iron now trying to work out of some kind of a jam. Bullet just fouled. You might have noticed Joe Welgos pulled his hands back. Doesn't want the umpire to maybe call it fair. Because the rule is in the air past first base, the ball must land in fair territory. But if you touch it and that ball's going to drift foul and you're touch it when the ball's still in fair territory, it's a fair ball.
Bases
If
scores
the ball
2.
bounces on the ground, then it has to bounce in fair territory past the bag. And there's a base hit. One run is in. Marola will score. So Wiz stays hot. He drives in 2 more. And Meatball City goes up 8-5. Still only 1 out here. And here's Joe Filomeno.
Let it come down, Joe. Let it come down.
Filomeno delivers. Pop's got a bad jump. The bases are loaded again. So this is a little bit of a nightmare inning. A little surprised that Danny hasn't come out just to slow the game down a little bit.
Happy, we go to you. 1 out.
Here's Jose Godinez.
Hey, 1 out. Let's go, App.
In Meatball City. And there's a high, long fly ball. McLaurin makes the catch. 1 run is in. They pick up their 9th run. And it's a 9-5 ball game. 3rd run of the inning. Runners on the corner now, 2 outs. He brings up John Doss.
Hey, Doss, no one better here. Let's go.
And Doss, he just bangs it off of CJ. That's going to score the 10th run. And Meatball City here trying to break this one wide open. Brings up Sean Quinn.
Joey, 2.
4-run inning.
Joey, go to you, man. Let's go.
Here. Come on, Sean.
3-1 count here. Oh, 2-1 count. Might be a full count here. No, 2-2. I missed a pitch somewhere along the line. And there's ball 4. It was a 3-2 count. So for about the 3rd time this inning, Meatball City's loaded them up. And it brings up Nick Wise. Now Chapo's going to go talk to CJ. Of course, they were both on signature last year. Sometimes when things aren't going the pitcher's way, they start to flatten out. And there's a hard ground ball that gets through Chapo. 1 run in it. 2 runs are in. They're going to send Quinn. 3-run score. Chapo stood up on that ball a little too soon, and it squirted between his legs. And now all of a sudden we got a 13-5 ball game. Big inning here as Meatball City has scored 7 runs. And now I think Nick Wiz would like to get a courtesy runner. Here comes Godinez. Right now, the defense for Iron is letting him down. And here's Jake Majerus. CJ, he can't make the play. And now he throws the ball away. No, umpire said there was time was out.
Come on, no way.
The runners were not active, and so the pitcher did have the ball. The runners were not moving. CJ was on the ground, just kind of going to flip it to one of his infielders. And as a result of that, now had the runner at first taken a turn and been active, they probably would have allowed that play to continue. So here's Ian Holst, who started this inning. And he rips one at well goes. He can't make the play, and the bases are loaded yet again this inning. And now you got Jake Caballero who with one out started the hit parade.
First two. Jake.
And there's a little flare. JD is there and he puts it away. But a 7-run inning, they push out to 13-5.
Let's go.
Now, if you're Iron, you got to find a way to chip in here, because as we head to the top of the 5th at some point, they're dangerously close to the mercy rule. So I'm going to grab a little water, folks. I'll be right back with you. Well, apparently my microphone doesn't want to cooperate here, so if you hear me slurping some water, I apologize.
Let's go. Go hard.
So I hope that wasn't too bad for you guys. So that was just a nightmare inning as Meatball City just kept loading it up, finding ways to push it across. Here's Nick McLaurin, then JT Redis and CJ, the bottom third of the Iron lineup. Again, we are live from Tinley Park. 2024 SSA Guaranteed Rate Affinity Kickoff Classic. Nick stays down, makes a very nice play, out number 1.
Come on, JT.
That'll bring up JT Redis. He's had a fine day in the outfield. And he sprinkled in a couple of big hits. You know, I ran into JT during one of the overnight tournaments out in Aurora that Chris Harris ran. And JT gets another hit. And he was real excited to be able to go to a team like Iron that plays and everything. He started out on that future team. The first tournament they ever played in the SSA, they won the Class B. And Pops turns the double play, and that'll end the inning. So we head to the top of the 5th, 13-5, Meatball. And JT was saying that he really enjoyed Future that was run by Joey Rogers. And loved the guys on the team, but they just could never get anybody out. And they just didn't play enough. And he was just looking for a chance to go somewhere to play. And that's important for younger players to get that opportunity, because you can't get better if you're not only working at it, but getting into game situations and playing. So he's going to be a good pickup for these guys moving forward. Top of the Meatball City lineup.
Let's go, Mikey. We go.
I'm sure what they're thinking here is let's push 3 or 4 across and get out of here early. And there's a little flare, and Chapo can't make the catch. He read it beautifully, got there, just couldn't secure it. And Meatball City, what new? They put a leadoff man on. Ted, they've looked really good, really crisp this year, this weekend. And there's a line drive snagged by Piotrowski. Throw across, not in time. But he made the nice snag there. I think that ball would have been foul, but it was a tremendous effort. And he robs Pops of a hit, potentially. Here comes Mike Wiz. Flares that the other way into the parking lot. Thanks for slowing us down. played with a guy named Steve Cuss, terrific player back in the day. And every at-bat, Steve had launched one, foul down one line, and then foul down the other line, and then he'd whistle a hit into the gap. And there's a ground ball. Neiman over to Chapo in time. And Iron survives the top of the fifth with no runs. Nicely done on the double play ball. The short center Neiman caught it and flipped it to the shortstop, flying over the bag. I asked Steve once, Steve, every at bat, man, with the two long foul balls, what's up with that? And he used to say, hey, Gio, I'm just trying to keep my gaps open. Steve had great back control. He could run it through an infield hole. He could take a little something off and dump it. And he had surprising pop for a skinny kid. Absolute rifle. Played a lot of short center. And he didn't want nothing to do with contact. So if you were on first and he got a double play ball, he would literally, I'm not kidding, throw it right at your chest. And then he'd look at the umpire and say, hey, he can't stand there. And he'd get that call. So here's Chapo. Tries to go deep down the line, and he beats Caballero.
Come three.
And that went under the fence. So it'll be a ground rule double. Now the rules are different in every park. Usually if we play 265 or less, anything that bounces over, through, or under the fence is a ground rule double. When we play 300-foot fence, it's usually a ground rule triple. So that's going to bring up Billy Quirk, leadoff man on here for Iron, as they're going to try to get something going here. Well, Cutts was also our short center the year Mudville won the national championship in Bourbonnais. There's a ground ball. Mike Marola, he did the right thing there because you got a big lead here and you're just chasing outs. And the last thing you want to do is make a mistake and have a couple of base runners on. Right now, Iron's looking at a tall hill decline. And you don't want to give them hope right now.
It's something you like, Mark.
And Mark Kalaga.
There you go, Steve.
And there's out number 2. Iron does get a run on that play. Mark and his good friend Al Roberski used to sing karaoke. And they used to do The Devil Went Down to Georgia. It was hilarious. Here's Lane Jr. He stays hot. He drives it. And Holst got on that quick. Throw got away. But again, you're chasing 7 here, so you're not taking crazy chances. And that's going to bring up Joe Welgos.
Come on, Joe. Come on, Joe. Lane, 2. Come on, Joe. Come on, Joe.
So I do like Meatball City's group. There's a high fly ball. Holst is there, and he makes a basket catch. So Iron does push one across. We'll head to the top of the 6, 13-6. They seem like they're very connected. They got a very good group of guys that seem like they're having a lot of fun and very together. Of course, on any team that has Joel and Pops Alejandro on it, you know they're going to have fun.
Let's go. Shut it down. Let's go. Let's go.
So it's Joe Filomeno, Jose Godinez, and JD coming up.
Welcome to the game.
Nothing cute. Keep swinging. Keep swinging, Joe.
Again, we are live, brought to you by Gold Rush Gaming. And of course, Matt Dozen and Guaranteed Rate Affinity. And Matt Dozen, little ground ball. Chapo had a little trouble with it. Lead off man on. So this is a substitution, Joel Alejandro, because he's not in the game, so he can't courtesy run. Brings up Jose Godinez. And Jose slashes at Chapo. Little bobble, one hopper, Welgos can't handle it. And Joel will make the turn. So 13-6.
Joel, way to be, babe.
He's good. He's good.
Jose smoked it. Chapo's got a couple of taped fingers, so I don't know if he hurt something. And here's John Dawes. Of course, the first time we get on dirt every year, and there's a slasher to CJ, and he gets the out. I think CJ might have thought the bases were loaded because he looked like he was going to throw home, and it looked like Calaga had pointed to first. Meatball City's had the bases loaded just about every inning. So here's Sean Quinn. Sean drives it down the right field line, and that is a fair ball. 2 runs are in. Quinn rounding and heading to third, and he'll make it. So a 2-run triple for Sean Quinn makes it 15-6. Here comes Nick Wiz. I don't know what's going on, but they're complimenting his rear section here.
Look at it. You got a great view of it.
And there's a base hit. So that'll put him up by that 10 spot, but of course Iron has the hammer. Should be 16-6, I believe. Guys always hate the courtesy run late in a tournament. And they would look at me like, again? And I'd be like, don't make the previous out. So here's Majerez. Meatball City, all business. And there's a rocket, Piotrowski to Neiman, over to Welgos, right around the horn. But in the inning, Meatball City pushes 3 across to go up by a 10. So now you're chasing these 3 outs. You're trying to not give up a run. So we want to thank everybody involved today. George Blesser did a little early in the day live streaming. Of course, Matt Dozen, Woody out here at the Tinley Park District for getting this all put together for us today. Joe Polito for bringing us McDonald's breakfast sandwiches. And there's a rocket right to Wiz. He snags it, throw across. Filomeno can't catch it. And now it ends up in the feet of Piotrowski. Rolls up the line and he hustles in.
Good hustle, that boy.
So Iron apparently wants to play the full 7.
Shut him down right now. Let's go, Michael. Hey, let the liners get through. We're chasing
Here's
the couple.
Brian Calaga. and he slashes one right at Pops. I say this all the time. Pops is one of the calmest infielders. That ball skipped on him. He had a little bobble, but he just controlled it, didn't rush, made the play. And here's the left fielder, McLaurin. I got to practice that a little bit. And he pushes a ball. JD, great play, spikes the throw. And Joe Filomeno can't believe it. Normally he's a vacuum over there. Great play by Doss. That had hit all over him. Brings up JT Redis. Now I know you want to play 7. I believe there's only one out here, but you can't really be giving yourself up down 10. He's got to go for a base hit. And there's a base hit. So we will play 7 as Iron, despite the big deficit, still getting their hacks in. First and second. Again, a couple of balls that could have been outs and not handled has allowed them to push a run across. That brings up CJ with Chapo on deck. CJ swings and he gets a base hit. And that's going to load him up. Still only one out here. We're only in the 6th, so Iron can push 4 or 5 across here. Might give themselves a little hope in that 7th.
Liners through. Hard on the ground, hard on the ground. No. Worse. What do you want?
And there's ball 4. And that's going to push another run across. So they were down 10. They got it to 8. There's still only one out, and here's Billy Quirk. And now home plate jumping around a little on Mike Marola. And Billy swings, and you can't teach height. Wiz with a great catch. Turned it into a double play. And they're out of the inning. And between Mike Wiz at short and Nick Wiz at third, they got a very big left side throwing Lane Neiman, and they got a lot of length across that left side of the infield. But Iron does push a couple across, so we head now to the top of the 7th, 16-8. The killer for Iron today was the 7-run 4th inning where everything that could go wrong did go wrong. And that's been the difference in the ball game. And here's Ian Holst as he gets a base hit. And that'll bring up Mike Marola.
Go, Mike.
And here's Caballero, and this time Chapo reads it. The throw across not in time. Chapo saw it all the way. And that's out number 1. And back to the top. And Marola slashes one. A little bobble, but they get the play at first.
Ian, move on the swing.
On the pitch.
Second baseman Brian Kalaga making that play. There's now 2 outs. Brings up Pops Alejandro. Got robbed his last time by Kyle Pietrowski over here at third base. And there he just bangs it off of CJ. Another run will score. 17-8. Brings up Nick Wiz. You're all right, Coach. You're all right.
Now you, Mike.
There's a
One more time
walk.
Jojo.
So we've seen a rash of walks here all of a sudden. Here's Joe Filomeno. And he tries to go big, but Ritas is there. And we'll head to a do-or-die bottom of the 7th. Iron down 9, 17-8. So you're just chasing outs here. You don't want to do anything crazy with the ball. You want to make the simple play and win yourself a championship. And this will be a good boost for this Meatball City team. Sometimes you pick guys up and you're not 100% how they're going to come in and gel. But these guys have looked like they've been playing with each other forever.
Let's go, shut it down, Michael!
So it's going to be Mark Kalaga, Lane Neiman Jr., and Joe Welgos. Do-or-die bottom of the 7th. Iron looking to climb the mountain. And Mark Kalaga, just a little overhand poke, and both outfielders kind of looked at each other. And Kalaga walks in with a double. So a little confusion out there. I think the way Mark hit the ball, it was kind of like a curveball. And I think the left fielder thought it was going more towards center. And I think the center fielder, Ian Holst, did read it right. He kind of saw the ball was going to hook away from him. But they both kind of looked at each other. And Lane Neiman, just another missile. So that Iron will add another run. Lane Neiman Jr. has been hitting the ball great today. Still nobody out. And it brings up Joe Welgos. So again, this diamond is giving up some runs. And Welgos sweeps it to Doss, so just make that easy play. JD's played a very good, solid second base today. He also does pitch a little bit. And here's Kyle Piotrowski. Now that the sun's gone down, the temperature's dropped. So if the camera starts shaking, and there's a base hit, that'll be another run. So Iron does get to the 10 mark. That's the good news. The bad news is Meatball City's at 17.
Let's go.
So here's Brian Kalaga now. And he smokes a base hit.
Come on, 3, Kyle!
So Kyle is going to head to third. Kalaga goes to second.
Nice ball, one day. Nice ball.
Brings up the left fielder, Jake McLaurin.
Let's go, Michael. Shut it down. Let's go, right now.
Let's go.
Little ground ball. That'll be out number 2. Another run does score. 17-11. Here's JT Lettuce trying to keep the game alive for CJ. There's a high fly ball. Outfielders there, and Meatball City wins the 2024 SSA Guaranteed Rate Affinity Kickoff Classic, brought to you by Matt Dozen. So Meatball City just was a wrecking ball in this game. We're going to take pictures. We'll get them up. But we'd like to thank everybody for tuning in all day today. Go back and watch some of the games, some of the bonus coverage. We appreciate it. So on behalf of Gold Rush Gaming, Matty Dozen, SSA Broadcast, this is Gio saying we'll see you soon. League play starts next week.